Facebook, come in, so you guys can like and share the video. I hope you had an amazing weekend. We are about to get started. We are still in Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Hello, Diana. So we are excited about giving you some amazing information that's life-saving. Hey. So as soon as we get our cue, we can go live. For those of you that are watching, hey, JB, can you please like and share the video? Like and share the video. Did you share it already? I can, because it ain't nothing for it to sit on, so it's okay. You sure? You want this? Hey, you guys, we had an amazing weekend. We are just coming off of Warriors Talk 3rd Annual Survivors Night of Reflection. It was an amazing night. I am sitting here with the winner of the Survivor of the Year Award as well. And so I am just excited, you guys. Hey, Iris, First Lady, how are you? Hey, Tia. Hey, you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please like and share the video. So again, we had an amazing time this weekend. The Warriors got a chance to speak about unmasking the mental residue of cancer, because a lot of times we don't get to talk about it. So we got a chance to hear from the survivors themselves about what they actually go through mentally, because a lot of times we see the physical, but we don't get to see the mental. So we got a chance to hear and see them in the flesh this weekend. So we had an amazing time. So I want you guys to lock in your calendars for next year. We're going to do the first weekend in October all over again, year 4. And get ready for year 5, because year 5 is going to be an actual banquet. And we're going to dress up after 5, and it's going to be off the chain. I cannot wait. Okay, we just wait on that cue to go live, you guys. Diana, you look so nice on Saturday night. I was like, go on, girl. I don't know how your husband let you out of the house, but you was looking nice. Yes, everybody was looking really nice. Okay, here we go. Invite other people in on the video, especially if you have any young women that you know. Invite them in on the video, because we're going to be talking about breast cancer does not discriminate. Hello, hello. Awareness, action on this motivation. So adjust my mic because it sounded like it was really loud. If you guys can hear me, can you please type? Somebody type in the comments that you can't hear me. Again, this is Lady ReShell from Warriors Talk, where we move away from awareness towards action. This is Motivational Monday, and I am excited because we are still in Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and today we're going to be talking about breast cancer does not discriminate. Cancer doesn't discriminate, and you know what? Neither do we. So we are breaking the silence today, and we are talking about cancer. Yes, we are. If you are tuning in from Facebook, can you please like and share the video? And again, if you can hear me without an echo, can you please just drop a line in the comments that you can hear us. Hey, Jeanette. So today the show is actually being sponsored by Allstate with PaulaKelly, and she's located at 297 East Glenwood Lansing Road in Glenwood, Illinois. You can call her for a quote at 708-758-3300, and she is specializing in all of your insurance needs. I encourage you to stay connected with me on all forms of social media. I'm on Instagram, Periscope, Twitter, as well as Facebook. Just type in @WarriorsTalk with the number 1. You can email me show ideas at warriorstalk@gmail.com. Stay connected by going to warriorstalk.org. You can find out about all the different events that's coming up about Warriors Talk, what we're doing. Stay connected with me by going to YouTube and following me, because what I do is I go around to different events and I bring back to you the update on different diseases and different events that are happening free in our community. You can always call in at 312-754-4333. This show is actually dedicated to supporting the fighters admiring the survivors, honoring the taken, and never ever giving up hope. Our healing verse is coming from Isaiah 43:2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned. Amen. Amen. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you are just tuning in on Facebook, I hope that you have already liked and shared the video. Again, we are in Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we are talking about breast cancer does not discriminate. I have an amazing guest who's here today. And again, she's also the 2018 winner of Warriors Talk Survivors Not a Reflection. She is the Survivor of the Year. So I'm excited about that because she didn't know when I asked her to be on the show that she actually had won. But I'm excited because we're talking about something that a lot of young women may not talk about, they may not know about because they may think that it does not affect them. But breast cancer does not discriminate. It also says, according to the Young Survival Coalition, it says, although breast cancer in young women is rare, more than 250,000 women in the United States were diagnosed under the age of 40. Under the age of 40, and we know that the age that they want us to get our mammograms is 40. And I know an individual that was 19 when she was diagnosed, and she's actually a 6-time cancer survivor. And it also says in young women, breast cancer tends to be diagnosed at a later stage, and also it is more aggressive. And so we're here to talk about that today. Breast cancer does not discriminate. My special guest is Shiana Thomas. She's an advocate. She's a breast cancer warrior, and she's here to share her story with us to not only bring about awareness, but give us some information to where we can also take action that may possibly save our lives. Welcome to Warriors Talk, Shiana.
Hello, how you doing? So my name is Shiana, and I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer when I was 25 years old. I found my lump in my breast relatively early. I was about 14 years old. I found the lump in my breast. And I also noticed that I had introverted nipples, and they also used to discharge a little bit. And I did go to have it checked out, and they said that more than likely it was a cyst and that I should come back for a biopsy. Unfortunately, I never went back for that biopsy. And when I was 25, I noticed that I was having a lot of pain and I couldn't breathe. So the doctor that I worked for encouraged me to go get it checked out, and I did, and my PCP had, my primary care physician, diagnosed me with costochondritis, which is basically like an inflammation of the sternum. And I said, well, can I get this lump removed? This cyst is what I called it. I called it a cyst. And she felt it, and she was like, well, we have to have an ultrasound first to know what it is that we're going to be removing. And that Friday, April 11th of 2013, I went to go have my ultrasound. And from that moment, I kind of knew that something was wrong from the way that it was so many people coming back and forth, and they wanted to give me a mammogram, and after the mammogram, they wanted to have a biopsy. And at that moment, I'm just thinking to myself, like, okay, what is really going on right now? Like,
Were you by yourself?
I was by myself.
Okay.
So I went to do the biopsy and everything, and they sent me home with a paper, and on that paper, it said, more than likely breast cancer.
Wow.
And I got in the car, I went home, and I just said, God, please don't let this be what it is. Let me come back and they be like, you don't have cancer. But if it happens to be, I'm just have to deal with it and just help me through it. And I went back that Monday, April 15th, It was the last day for taxes to be filed. And it was my auntie's birthday. And they took me in. They gave me another ultrasound. Then they wanted to do another biopsy of my left breast. And so I said, okay. They did the results. They come back and they take me in the back of the room to show me the x-rays and stuff. And they're like, yeah, it's malignant. And I was just like, really?
Now you were 25 at the time?
Right, and I just turned 25 years old.
Now, did you take somebody back with you the second time?
No, I didn't. I went after work. So I was scheduling these appointments around my work schedule. Okay. And yeah, so they told me, and the first thing I could do, like, is just call my aunt. I really didn't think about nobody else. She's the nurse of the family. Okay. So I was just like, let me call her with this news. Like, and from there, it was just a whirlwind. And I got all of my tests and everything done. And then I found out that it was stage 4 breast cancer. Wow. And I honestly didn't know. I didn't know many African American people with breast cancer, so I honestly thought that was just something that Caucasian white women get older, not even young.
So it doesn't run in your family. You don't have a history of cancer in your family.
Okay, so I do have a history that I learned on my father's side.
And this was after?
This was after. Okay. Right. And then on my mom's side, maybe like my third great aunt. Okay. So like the great aunt and her daughter, but not immediate family. Okay. Then nobody immediate had any cancer, but statistics and research shows that breast cancer is not always genetic. So yeah, it wasn't even from that.
And I think most women need to know that 85% of the women that are diagnosed with breast cancer do not have a family history of breast cancer. So some people may think, well, I don't have anybody in my family that has cancer, so I don't have to worry about it. But you do. You still have to worry about it. You still have to be vigilant with your body. And as we were saying Saturday, you still have to touch yourself so that you get to know your own body when something is not normal. You know to do something about it.
Correct. That's what I did. And as many times as I would always, throughout high school and college, I always felt my breast. And I knew that lump was right there, but I just never really thought that it would be cancer. Or I'm just really thinking it's a cyst. So when I found out it was stage 4 breast cancer, it really kind of shook me up because I didn't even understand. I knew it was the last stage, but I still didn't quite understand in terms of like how my treatment and stuff was going to be. And then when you go on the internet and you're researching everything. Don't do it, girl. My doctors had to tell me to stay off the internet, stay off.
You will commit suicide.
Yes, you did. I cried so much because I just couldn't bear the fact of me leaving my family. Yes. I wasn't even concerned about myself. I didn't want to deal with all of the crying and people feeling sorry for me and everything. I just kind of wanted to tackle it and get it done with. I thought that I was just going to have a mastectomy. I was like, I'm going to give me some new boobs.
Some big boobs. Yes.
But they was like, no surgery. We're going to have to give you chemotherapy first because it's already spread throughout your body. And later on, I learned that it had spread to my brain a few months later after I had got my initial diagnosis. So now I'm learning, so now I'm HER2 positive, estrogen positive. So basically now I'm learning the cancer is feeding off the estrogen that I'm producing. So it was just so much. But I'm glad that I had my family with me going to these appointments because they're the ones that were taking the notes and asking the questions and everything, because I couldn't ask nothing. I didn't know what to ask. I didn't.
You probably was in a tunnel, like, most of the time you're in a tunnel when you're going through stuff like that. So it's like you just want to hurry up and get stuff over with. But it's good that you had an amazing support system. Some people don't realize how important your support system is when you're going through. Some people try to go through it alone. Some people try to keep it a secret because they feel shame. They think it's something that they did, something that they did to cause it to happen, and we know that that's not the case. So.
Right. Yeah. It's hard to go through it alone, and I feel very bad and sorry for a lot of people that do have to go through it alone. Because I am in a lot of different kind of support groups, and I can see that sometimes a lot of them do not have their family. Sometimes women's husbands divorce them and everything, and boyfriends leave. And it's hard. It was hard for me because I wasn't sure if anybody would want to date me.
Oh, wow.
It was like I felt like I was going to have this big burden, and nobody's going to want to date me. Nobody's going to want to be involved with me. I'm going to be ugly because I don't have any hair, and my face is all breaking out. I'm getting fat. So it's hard. Not just physically on a person, but mentally as well.
And at that age, that's the last thing that you really should be thinking about. At 25, you should be enjoying your life, planning for your future, thinking about all these different things that, you're going to do in life. So what was going through your mind? I know you said when you got the diagnosis, you got in the car and you immediately started talking to God.
Right.
And then you thought about your family. You thought about, I don't want them crying over me. I don't want them upset. I don't want them worrying about what I'm going to do.
Right.
Did you ever think to yourself, why me?
I did. I wanted to know why me, because I always felt that I'm a good person. I'm caring. I love people. I couldn't think of anything that I would have done wrong to deserve what I was about to have to go through. And eventually, as I just began to read more of the Bible, and I started to go to church more, and I'll just pray about it, and I will understand in the Bible that a lot of his disciples, Jesus' disciples, went through a lot of things. And he won't put more on you than you can bear. I wanted to know what my purpose was in life. He showed me what my purpose was. I asked for healing in my life. He brought me healing. It might not have been the exact healing that I was prepared for or something, but he brought me that healing in my life that I needed. And with my purpose, I feel like my purpose is to be here to educate people and advocate on breast cancer, and just teach people about breast cancer, and that young people do get breast cancer.
That's awesome that at your age you know your purpose, because there are a lot of people my age still searching, trying to figure out what their purpose is. And there is a purpose in the trials that we go through, and it's good that you can see the good in the purpose instead of being bitter, instead of blaming God and want to be upset and walking away and saying, I'm not going to do any treatment, I'm not going to do anything, I'm going to die anyway. When you hear cancer, you hear death. And so for you to have that mature attitude, and for you to actually know that he gave you healing.
Right.
And when we ask for stuff, sometimes we're not specific. We say, God, I need this, I need that. And then sometimes he gives us what he knows we need.
Correct.
And you probably needed that healing so that you can go on to educate and empower and inspire other women. Because I'm just thinking about your age and what you said, that you didn't know nothing about breast cancer. You just thought Caucasian people get it. Now, when you look at statistics, it says that African Americans, we get it twice as more than our counterparts, our white counterparts. We do, for some reason. And then when we get it, it's more aggressive for our bodies. And so the fact that you were young, you didn't know about it, that lets you know that there are a lot of other individuals out there like you, and that your purpose is needed to help those individuals, to educate them in order to save their lives. Because you're thinking at 25, I'm invincible,
Right.
and I have my whole life ahead of me. You have so many things planned to do. You don't have time for cancer.
I definitely didn't. I was trying to move. I was trying to get out to Florida, and I had a boyfriend out there,
Wow.
everything. And then I heard got diagnosed with cancer, and I was just like, well, the Lord is speaking, because obviously it wasn't meant for me to go out there, especially not at that time, because had I went out there, I would have been by myself, because he dumped me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was getting job interviews and stuff, but I didn't get them. So to me, it just meant that wasn't my time. The Lord knew that I was going to go through something. So he was like, you need to stay still. You're going to have to stay here. And your life is about to change, basically. So, and that's what I went through. I accepted it. And I still made plans that I'm still going to leave. I'm just going to do it when I'm better. Right. Because I still had to get over the depression of not doing that, of not being able to live the life that I thought that I was going to live. And sometimes it's still hard because I want kids. I'm 25 years old. I don't feel like I should be, well, I'm not 25 anymore, but at that age, even today, I'm just like, I don't understand. I still don't understand why that's something that I have to carry around, but I think I feel that I'm starting to come to the conclusion that I may have to adopt or I may have to foster children. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm okay with that. I just want to be able to have a child.
So that's got to be kind of hard, especially at a young age, because you look forward to that. And then a lot of times, when you're going through life, we tend to like put that off until you are done doing the things that you want to do so that you can be able to take care of a family.
Right.
And then for you to be told,
right.
you can't have a family. And I think we talked about this before a while ago when you said that they didn't really give you the option, or they didn't really educate you enough on, let me save or freeze.
Correct. Yeah. There wasn't pretty much an option of freezing my eggs or anything, because I'm assuming it was aggressive, and it's because it was so far on that the first thing they wanted to do was treat me. But I feel that I would have liked to have had the luxury of saying, I want to freeze my eggs first because I want to have kids one day.
Right.
But yeah, I wasn't given that option to do that. And her thing was, well, you have nieces and nephews.
Is that what the doctor told you? Oh, they could be so insensitive. They could be so insensitive sometimes.
Yeah, and I felt that was very insensitive because, of course, I know I have nieces and nephews, but I want my own kids. Those are not my kids, but I feel that they are a blessing to me. I'm glad that they are in my life because I needed them, and I still do need them if I'm going through hard times or in my mind. And I just need that comfort or that unconditional love that they bring.
Pure love, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, doctors can be very insensitive, and they could be insensitive in knowing that we need the mental help, the mental part of it, but some of them don't even offer it. And it should be packaged with the treatment that you get physically. You would think they would say, because they get on you right away when it comes to getting your treatment. You get a nurse navigator, they make all your appointments, and somewhere along the lines, when you're making those appointments, you should already be seeing somebody. Every time you have an appointment, you should have another appointment seeing a therapist.
Right.
Every time, because you're getting news. Every time you're going in, they're telling you something different. Okay, we got to do this, we got to do this, you got to do this scan, you got to do this. And you got to sit and process all of this information. And sometimes you don't want to bother other people and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. you don't want to really tell them that this is what you're going to do because you don't want to really burden people.
Right. And that's how I was feeling a little bit with always having to have people come to my appointments and everything, because I was having scans and stuff left and right. And every 3 weeks I was going to treatment. And then the side effects were, they weren't so bad at first. They don't really start to kick in until about like a couple of days later is when your symptoms start to kick in from the chemotherapy. And it was getting like really, really bad. My face was breaking out really, really bad, and my mouth sores, no appetite. The only thing that I really wanted to eat was sweets.
Wow.
Candy. That was the only thing that I could eat, candy and cereal.
Wow.
And so, of course, I picked up like 30 pounds because I was eating all of that crap. But it was like, that was the only thing that I could eat. And me and my family sometimes will get into it about what I was eating and everything. But they didn't understand like what it was that I was going through.
Yeah.
So saying, oh, you need to eat this, you need to eat that. And it's like, look, I need to eat what I want to eat right now.
Because certain things, when your mouth is sore, if it's spicy, it's going to turn it up 10 notches. If you eat it, you're like, oh my goodness. So, well, at least you had them holding you accountable for eating. Like, you go eat something.
Right.
And you have to find something that you can eat and stick with that as long as you're getting something in your body to keep your body going, because you're losing so much from the chemo, from the treatment. I think my thing were at the time when I was eating meat, it was this chicken on a pita. So that's what I would eat like all day, every day, because that was the only thing that I could eat that I can actually feel like I can taste it. Anything else, I was just like, it tastes like cardboard. So I think sometimes people don't understand. They just like, oh, they want you just to put something in your mouth. What we're going to do right now, we're going to take a quick break. And Shiana is definitely an overcomer. We're going to listen to Mandisa with Overcomer. So Facebook, we are on break with Urban Broadcast Media, but you guys are not on break. So, losing my break there. And so you can ask questions. I saw somebody said something. Lisa said, yes, God knows and is using you as his vessel. He sure is. Because like I said, a lot of young women are just as clueless. They don't know. Diana said, you better preach. Yeah, a lot of young women don't know. They clueless and they need someone like you to go out and say, hey, look at me. You know, and just looking at you, you would know that you're dealing with what you're dealing with. And so people need to see that you can look just like me and still be dealing with this internally. So you need to make sure that you're being diligent about it. So we're going to talk about later.
Hi, Terrence.
Thank you, Coach T.
Of
Uncle
course,
Dawson.
Mika.
Hey, Dawson.
Yeah, I'm talking about you.
Hey, Janetta. Hey, Marvin. Hey, David. Can y'all please share this video? Please share, and invite others in. Hey, Derek.
Yeah, Melissa, it's hard. I love you too, girl.
Thank you, Diana. I appreciate it. All right, so we're on break from the other radio station, but if you have any questions, you guys, for Shiana, please, you can ask her the questions while we're on break. She is, right now, she's dealing with stage 4 cancer, where she is a warrior. She's thriving. She's surviving right now. And people need to know what it looks like, because I think we get the misconception when you think of somebody who has stage 4 cancer. You're looking for somebody, this weakling that can't do nothing for themselves.
Right.
Yes. And here's somebody that's functioning. She's working every day, and she's making it happen. And she's not only dealing with cancer for herself, but she is advocating for other young women like herself, because they need to know, because sometimes they walk around in a cloud like, this can't happen to me. But to have someone like yourself to be an example for them to see that Just because you look fine on the outside doesn't mean that you're well on the inside, and that we should be diligent about our health and taking care of our health and knowing your family history. That's important to figure out what's going on in your family. You may not have a history of breast cancer. We talked about that. Doesn't mean that you're not going to get breast cancer. 85% again of the women who are diagnosed do not have a family history. So this is an amazing story, because at the age of 14, she found her first lump. I mean, at 14, who's thinking about a lump in your breast? Like,
not me. I don't think no 14-year-old is thinking about that.
I mean, you're thinking about, what is 14-year-olds think about? I don't know. Boys.
Right.
Because you're 14.
Boys, 14, just starting high school.
Yes.
And I think that was my freshman year. My freshman year of high school. And I remember my grandmother had came here because she actually had moved to Las Vegas when I was about 9 years old. So that had brought her back home because she just wanted to go to the doctor's office with me and just kind of find out what was going on. But and unfortunately, like I said earlier, we didn't follow up with going to have a biopsy and everything. And I don't know, I feel like at 14, I want to say that it probably still would have been a cyst if I had the biopsy.
That's what I'm thinking.
So I'll never know. I just know that right now, what it progressed to, it just became aggressive, and it was at stage 4 by the time I actually decided to pay some attention to it. Because I would have never thought that, because like, as you mentioned earlier, having a mammogram, most of the time they want you to do it at 40 years old or so. And if I would have waited till 40 years old, you would be 6 feet up.
You wouldn't be here.
I would be dead right now. So
what are they saying?
I wish that
my hair's sticking out, girl. My hair's sticking out. Okay, girl, look. Was you looking at? Why is that?
I was going.
Oh, that's
no
okay.
way.
Girl, they going crazy. Okay, so,
I was gonna wait. I didn't think you could see it right there because I'm looking. So I was like, okay,
because I'm in the process of taking it down. So like, I just had it in between. And then, girl, what? Okay, yeah. Never mind what's going on. Girl, they crack it up. I'm sorry.
But, oh, you made me lose my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
Kids.
Girl, oh my goodness.
But yes, I was saying, it had progressed and it just became stage 4 breast cancer, and I just didn't.
Thank you, Angela.
I wouldn't have thought about as much breast cancer as it is now. I'm assuming, I guess because I'm diagnosed with it now, that I see it more.
Yes.
Because it seems like more people are talking about it now on Facebook than they were when I was in college. And I was on Facebook and everything. I didn't see it as much. And now it just seems like it's just everywhere. It's out there, and
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think when I took this thing off my head. That's funny. Thank you, Angela. I appreciate that. Oh my God. That's too funny. And we are back. This is Lady ReShell with Warriors Talk, where we move away from awareness towards action. And we are talking to Shiana, and she is a stage 4 breast cancer warrior, and she's sharing her journey with us. Before we get back into the show, this second half hour is actually being brought to you by Mary Kay with Gloria Dotson, where she is catering to you and all of your beauty needs. You can contact her at 773-889-1853, or you can email her at marykay.com/GDOTSON. And in our community connections corner, we have Sisters Working It Out, where they have every second Tuesday for men and women. You are invited for their support group. It is located in Miles Square Health Center, 641 West 63rd Street in Chicago, from 5:30 to 7:30. You can call to sign up at 312-574-3053. Now, again, we're talking about breast cancer. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we're talking about breast cancer does not discriminate. And again, we have a young warrior in the house tonight that's telling us about her story. And she found a lump at the age of 14, and it was just a cyst. So she wasn't, too much worried about it. At 14, you're not worried about breast cancer, and by the time she got 25, she went in to take care of it and found out that she was at a stage 4. And she is right now an advocate for other young women to pay attention to their bodies, to give them more information about breast cancer in young women. And I noticed that when I was looking up the information on Facebook, it was talking about 30%, it said an estimate of 30% more of all breast cancer in young women is diagnosed in the fewer years after they have a baby as well. So if you have a baby young, then you're most susceptible to getting breast cancer as well. And I remember them saying something about breastfeeding as well. If you breastfeed, it eliminates you from having breast cancer. But if you have the babies later in life, then that cancels that out. So it's like you really have to pay attention to, what they're saying as far as when you can get it and when you can't. Should you have your babies early? Should you not? So we need to pay attention because it says nearly every year more than 1,000 women under the age of 40 die from breast cancer. It seems like though cancer is more aggressive in younger women when they get it for some reason.
And young African American women.
Young African American women for some reason. Okay, let me just, Henry says this generation needs a light for the darkness of the day. They do. They really do. We need to see God's miracle manifest in the flesh, walking, talking, working, advocating, living testimony. Right here. Yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Angela, for trying to warn me about that. I appreciate it. Oh my goodness. So, Shiana, just to see you here, like Henry said, in the flesh, you are showing people that God has a plan for you. That just because you get a cancer diagnosis does not mean that God is trying to take you out of here. But you communicated with God and you asked him, what is this?
Right.
And so when you communicated with him, that means you had a relationship with him because you was able to talk to him and you was able to hear from him. Did it take your faith to another level when this happened, when you got that diagnosis?
It definitely did. It helped me out a lot. Just being able to have faith in something will give you the hope that you need to get through every day, daily tasks, and picking yourself up from the ground and finding the humor in things and just appreciating everything. I'm very thankful for that. I didn't grow up in a church-based family home. We didn't go to church like that. So it took me a while until I got to college to actually build a relationship with God. And I still, sometimes we all teeter-totter between things. But in this instance, I think that helped me out. This helped me the most with actually getting in tune with things and seeking him out more and asking him for things and reading scriptures and trying to apply it best to my life and my situation. Because everybody's interpretation of a scripture in the Bible and everything is going to be different. You have to, what speaks to you.
Right.
And most of the time, that's what I did. What spoke to me and how it spoke to me and how I was going to use it and apply it for myself. And that worked for me. That worked for me, and it worked for my family. I shared my scriptures with them every morning.
Oh, wow.
And then my grandmother took over it. But that's what happened. That's what helped me. Going to church and getting my boyfriend to go with me or going with my grandmother, whatever it was that I needed, he provided for me.
Wow.
And I couldn't be not really grateful for that. Just grateful.
Wow. And you, I mean, I like your attitude because your situation, you could really mentally, and I know mentally we all still go through. That's why I call it the cancer residue. But just to hear you speak, the maturity that you have, because I can imagine you the first time you was diagnosed to where you are right now, totally different person, right? So
Totally.
cancer matures you really fast because
Right.
you have to figure out what you need to do in order to survive. So I like the fact that you took the time out to have a connection with God, to actually take time out to get in the Word for yourself, to understand it for yourself so that you can be able to apply it for yourself. So I mean, that really helped get me through. And then you can share that with, other young women to help them get through as well. So I was looking at the Young Survivors Coalition website, which I see your picture.
I'm trying to make it.
Yes. I was like, is that Shiana? That is you. Yes, that is you.
That's a bigger me.
So I was looking because it was talking about health disparities in young African American women. And as we was talking about Caucasian, how the numbers are totally different. So it says African American women under the age of 35 have the rate of breast cancer 2 times than the Caucasian women under the age of 35. African American women under the age of 35, they die from breast cancer 3 times as often than Caucasian women. And that, I mean, just hearing that, and it works when you over 42. So our numbers are high as well. We know that the death rate is 41,000 when it comes to us dying from breast cancer. And for some reason, African Americans, we have a 42% more chance. Our numbers are higher. It's 42% higher than the other races for some reason.
Well, the thing is that, so with breast cancer, most people do not die from breast cancer, but they die from metastatic breast cancer, which is the stage 4 breast cancer. So you have about 114 people, I want to say, that die a day from metastatic breast cancer. I want to say because we all generalize just breast cancer.
Right. I love that.
So yeah, it's hard not to just say just breast cancer.
Right.
When in fact it's stage 4 breast cancer that people are dying for now. It is other people that are being diagnosed more than once or twice with breast cancer, and that plays a big part in women mentally, because after the first occurrence, and then you have to think about, am I going to get a second occurrence? And is it going to happen another time? And like yesterday, Saturday at your event, I believe there was a lady that said 7 times that she had been diagnosed with some type of cancer, and it's sad that it comes back so many times. I have another friend named Shay. She does Shay Sharp pink wishes, and she's had it about 2 or 3 times. I want to say she had it 26 and then 36.
Wow.
I think it's it's bad that it's occurring so many other times after we're having mastectomies and stuff, and we're still getting it. So like, what is it? Is it something in the food, like
the air, like
right? All of the toxicity and everything, but just like then you can't not eat this or eat that, because you have vegans that still get it.
They still get it.
So it's like we don't even know. But they need more research, especially for stage 4 breast cancer, because that's what the people are dying from.
Do you think, because I know on one show I did something about clinical trials, and they always say that it's not enough of us that are participating in the clinical trials, so that when they're trying to get the medicine to treat us, we're not present. So the medicine, when we get it, it normally sometimes they say it doesn't work for us because it wasn't even made for us.
Right. So how are you gonna test something that's not made for you to test? You know, I did participate in a clinical trial when I was doing stuff for my brain.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to get off of that. It seemed to be working for almost a year. And then it sent me to the hospital in the emergency room. So I had to come off of that. But there are plenty of clinical trials. I think another thing is that sometimes people don't know about the clinical trials.
That's true.
That's going on. And maybe in the doctor's office, they could actually be more, have lists of different kind of clinical trials for people. And another thing is sometimes it's trying to find insurance. Having your insurance pay for some of these clinical trials.
That's true.
Sometimes people's insurance doesn't want to pay for it.
Nope.
So it can be hard.
It can be hard, but we do, I mean, anytime that you can participate. I know they have what they call the Army of Women, and you can join it for free. And all of it is not clinical. Sometimes it's just surveys and them asking questions. So I think sometimes people shy away from it because they think that it's clinical, like I'm going to be taking some type of medicine,
Right.
you know, and it's going to affect me this way. But all of the clinical trials doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be taking some type of medicine. I would encourage you to look up Army of Women, and I think her name is Dr. Susan Love, and she does these different clinical trials that you can get involved in. Henry is preaching tonight, so Henry is saying all of God's promises are yes and amen. These things I hold on, beloved. I wish above all things that you would prosper and be in good health. Yes, even as thy soul prospers. These are the promises of our Father in heaven. Amen. Amen, Henry preaching. All right, let me like that comment. So, Lisa says, amen, Henry. So again, we're talking to Shiana. She is a young breast cancer warrior. And again, she talked about finding a cyst at the age of 14. And then at the age of 25, they told her that she was stage 4. But that's not stopping her right now. She is actually an advocate. She is sharing her journey and her information with other young ladies who are maybe clueless to breast cancer and that they can get breast cancer. And just looking at her, you would know the battle that she faced, the battle that she goes through on a daily basis. And I think that's why I kind of take to Shiana, and I always call her by the wrong name anyway. But I made sure that I was going to try to get it right today. But do you have any words of wisdom that you would give to a young woman who may be afraid, that may be going through, or don't even know anything about breast cancer? They just clueless. Like, what kind of advice would you give to a young person?
As a young woman or a young person, I would say to get to know your body. It's nothing wrong with it. It's your body. God gave it to you for a reason. Get to know it. Check it. Do your breast exams like once a month. The best way is in the shower and lift your arms up and just feel around to make sure that you're not feeling anything. Check them out. Make sure that there's no liquids or anything coming out of your nipples, or no rashes or anything that's not normal to you that you don't see on a regular basis. To check it out, go to the doctor and check it out. Another thing would be to find you a good support system, and even if it's somebody that you don't know, find somebody that may be going through the same thing, because unfortunately somebody that's not going through a cancer diagnosis, they're not going to fully understand what it is that you are going through, especially mentally. Physically, most of the time you're going to be able to see, but it's the mental part that you're not. And don't be afraid to just get the help that you need. It's okay. I think in the African American community that a lot of times we're scared to seek out help, especially from a therapist or a psychologist or something like that. I don't know what this it's just a stigma on that, being crazy or whatever, but it's not all the time that it's good to have somebody who doesn't have a biased opinion. They don't have an opinion about you. They want to be there to help you. You are their best interest, and I think that's the best way to go about it. Know yourself and seek the help that you're gonna need. Don't be afraid. There's plenty of people out here that's going through the same thing that you're going through. They understand what you're going through, and there's people out there that want to be there for you. They want to help you. I remember I had this young lady tell me that was going through she was a breast cancer survivor, and I was just diagnosed. And she was like, she told me, no, people are going to want to help you. I wasn't sure. I was scared of people not wanting to help or be there for me, knowing that I really was going to need the help financially. And it's like, I don't want to ask people for help. I don't want, they're not going to want to give me no money. They got their own stuff that they're going through or that they need their money for. But I tried it. I did it. And that's what I'm learning now, is that I can't be afraid to do it, because what's the worst that can happen?
Right.
It's just a no. That's it. That's the worst that's going to be able to happen. You'll never know unless you try something and you do something about it. I know that before, me and my grandmother, this year we were supposed to go on an RV tour because I wanted to go and educate minority women about breast cancer. And unfortunately, we had to put it on hold. So I'm still looking forward to doing that, because at first I wanted to do it, but then I didn't. I got scared. I said, I don't know nothing about breast cancer.
Yes, you do.
She said, yes, you do. I said, yes, you do. I don't know. And I was just so scared, and just speaking in front of people, it's like I knew in my mind, I can do this. But that fear is always, it's like holding on me.
Right.
And I talked to my psychologist about it, and I told her, I said, I know I can do it. I used to do this stuff at work, so I know I can do it. And I just said, I'm gonna stop letting fear overcome me.
Yes.
And just do it.
And just do it. Like Nike.
Like Nike.
Do it, yes. Carol had a question. She said, we talked about that earlier. Did the cyst turn into breast cancer?
Well, I can't say exactly that it turned into breast cancer, but it was the same lump. It had actually gotten bigger in my right breast. And so I guess you can say that it was cancer or it turned into cancer. I'll never know. I just know that that particular lump that I did have, it got bigger, and I later found out that it was cancer.
Wow. Carol she had a statement. She said, it's so hard to get doctors to take you seriously when you worry about breast cancer at an early age. And it's so true. And as Shiana said, you have to be persistent. You know your own body. So you have to make sure that you are going back to the doctor and saying, hey, I need this test. You have to keep pushing. Because you are young, they're thinking, this person can't get breast cancer, but they already know the statistics are already out there to show that breast cancer does happen in women under 40. And when it happens, it's more aggressive, and it's mostly in the later stages. So what Shiana is saying is get on top of your body. Stay on top of your body. Be persistent. Just because you're young doesn't rule you out. Breast cancer does not discriminate. And on that note, warriors, keep thriving while surviving.
Yes. Advocate for yourself.
Yes. Thank you, Shiana.
Thank you.
Again, this is my winner. Hey, Professor, this is my winner from our 2018 Survivors Night of Reflection. She's the winner for the Survivor of the Year. So I'm excited. See y'all.
Bye.